So I have a confession. I have been slightly obsessing over the ABC show Claim to Fame. So I was definitely not planning on falling in love with this gimmicky game show, but it just happened. I don't know what to say. And honestly, I think I just fell right into the ABC producers' plot. So Claim to Fame has a time slot right after The Bachelorette. And one day I was just packing while I was listening and watching The Bachelorette, and then I was just too lazy to change the channel, and then on comes Claim to Fame, and I was just looking at it and I was like, is that Kevin Jonas? And then I was like, also, who's that with him? Is that the bonus Jonas? So yeah, their plan worked. They knew that people from The Bachelorette would just continue to watch, and I did. I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. So what is Claim to Fame? So Claim to Fame is a game show hosted, like I said, by Kevin Jonas and the bonus Jonas, who has a name, it's Frankie. And so the two of them, minus the other Jonas brothers, they must have been busy. I don't know, Nick's on a dancing show. I don't know what Joe's doing. But the show puts 12 famous relatives together in a house with the goal of figuring out whose relative is who. So who has a claim to fame. And all of the relatives live under one roof, a la like Big Brother-esque kind of game show. And they compete in challenges in hopes of winning $100,000. Each week, the contestants compete in a challenge, and the winner of the challenge gains immunity, kind of like Big Brother. The one with immunity is able to go into a wine cellar that has all these like clues in them that are in wine bottles, things like that. And they open up a clue to help them uncover another member or roommate's identity. So while the winner of the game gets a clue to someone's famous relative's identity, the losers are put up to be guessers. So each week there are like two losers who go in and they are guessers. So from there, you have the two guessers who are the two losers from the challenge, and the house votes on who they want to be the guesser for that week. So as I described it, it seems like there wouldn't be a lot of strategizing, but trust me, there is, in terms of who the guesser is, who's put up to guess, who the guesser wants to guess the identity of. So it's just a lot of guessing. A lot of guessing, but strategizing, and it's fun, trust me. So if you're put up to be the guesser, you basically have to use your clues, use your alliances, use what you know about these people in the house, and you have to either guess a person's identity correctly or you're gone. So that might have not been the best explanation, but we're gonna move on and I'm gonna talk about the cast. Now, there are 12 of them, like I said, but also these people all have famous relatives, so keep that in mind. And so there are a few people who have pseudonyms, meaning they don't use their real name, and there are some people who use their real name. It's all just their own preference. But I'm going to list all of them, and I'm going to list the people whose celebrity relative has already been revealed. So we have Amara, who is Whoopi Goldberg's granddaughter. Whoopi Goldberg is her grandma. They look just alike. Like a lot of these, once you know who their celebrity is, you're like, oh, got it. It's obvious. So Louise, who is Simone Biles' sister, which is like literally, they call her the layup. They're like, we know it. She looks exactly like her. I mean, it's just kind of obvious. If you even like spotted her across the room. When I saw the commercials, I was like, oh, I didn't know Simone Biles was on this show. It's because her sister looks exactly like her. So that one was easy. Then you have Maxwell, who's Chuck Norris's grandson. You have Brittany, who's Brett Favre's daughter. Michael, who's Zendaya's cousin. X, who's Laverne Cox's brother. And then you have Pepper, who is the granddaughter of Dean Martin. Oh, we also have, in the latest episode, Elsie is Keke Palmer's sister, which is really tricky. We'll get into that. But the other contestants, the one that we haven't figured out 100%, are Kai, Dominique, Logan, and Lark. Even though there's some fan speculation of who's who, we haven't gotten those people's backstories yet. But now that we know who are the characters in this play, let's talk about the episodes. So during episode 1, we're introduced to the host and the other contestants and the general premise like I laid out. We are told that the contestants have had to reveal 3 facts about their celebrity relative, but they can lie about one of them. They're basically playing two truths and a lie. In this first episode, we're also told that there's a lot of clues just lying around the house that can be interpreted by the contestants, including a clue wall that has everybody's at least one clue from every single person in the wall. So a lot of times the contestants will walk back up to that wall to try to figure out what's going on. So after the two truths and a lie, the contestants just try to get to know each other, suss out the vibes, and then the next day they all compete in a talent show. And in this talent show, we learn that the winner will have immunity, like I said, and the losers will be put up for guessing on the guess block. So they compete in this talent show, and most of them have, like, I don't want to be rude, but mediocre talents, which, like, I mean, I have mediocre talents, but, like, some of them just do some funny things. But Brittany wins by painting her idol, who is Lucille Ball, and then LC, who sang the national anthem, and Pepper, who made a spicy margarita, are land in the bottom. So those two, Elsie and Pepper, will have to be guessers at the guess off. So we go back to the house, a lot of strategies discussed. A lot of them don't want to immediately vote out Louise because they're like, this is the easy one. So we want to keep her there. So if we ever needed to, like, we were up on the guessing block, we could just guess Louise. That is why Louise is still here 4 episodes in when she looks exactly like her sister. But that is just one strategy component. But meanwhile, Pepper is freaking out about the guessing. She thinks that Maxwell is Steven Spielberg's son because there's some clues about, like, there's dinosaurs, things alluding to things that could be Jurassic Park-esque. So she thinks Maxwell is Steven Spielberg's son. And this is just a side note, Maxwell shares, like, a really sad thing that apparently to reach his celebrity relative, he has to go through the celebrity relative's lawyer. Kind of sad. Meanwhile, Brittany is able to look at the clues and draws the clues and is showing Lark the clue that try to, like, you have the decision whether or not if you get a clue and you're the winner, you can show it to other people who are part of your, like, alliance or not. So Brittany couldn't figure out the clue. Anyway, so Pepper is put up by the house to be the guesser. So she has to guess, and she wants to guess Maxwell's identity. So she brings Maxwell up. But then the production crew calls the Jonas Brothers in and says, wait a second, something's gone amiss. So high drama, what's up? We figure out that Maxwell has brought his phone in and they caught him on camera because they're obviously kind of like Big Brother, being filmed at all times. I don't know how he thought he was going to get away with that, but that's obviously against the rules. So Maxwell is disqualified. And then we find out that Maxwell is actually Chuck Norris's grandson, and that was not going to be Pepper's guess, so she's all rattled. Maxwell leaves. That's the end of episode 1. So, episode 2 starts, and everyone's shook. Pepper's crying. The whole gang is really, like, shook up after Maxwell's elimination. So, fast forward, it's the next day before the challenge. Everyone's just, like, discussing it with each other, like, going over some things. Michael is talking to Amara, and they're just talking about Mara's grandmother, Whoopi Goldberg, and they're just talking, and then also Logan and Brittany are talking, and they're just discussing each other's past and how they're both from the South and kind of connecting. So it's during this moment that we figure out that Brittany is related to the quarterback, Brett Favre. Brett Favre is a famous quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, so very well known, but we figure that out, and that's going to be important because this episode is centered around basically everyone in the house figuring out that Brittany is related to Brett Favre. So the challenge this week is that people have to figure out what the item is in a box by just touching it. And each participant gets points for the number of items that they guess correctly. The kicker is that each item is a clue related to one of the people in the house's identity. So trying to not only win the challenge, but figure out what clue connects to which person. So this challenge is actually really helpful for some people who have hunches on others, and they'll discuss afterwards how they felt like some of these clues were really instrumental for helping people decide who was whose relative. But at the end of the day, X wins the challenge, and Dominique and Pepper, again, this is a running theme with Pepper, they're both in the bottom, so they're going to be put up potentially to guess. So there's time to debrief after this challenge, and people just discuss who they think is related to who. And a lot of people are catching on to the fact that Brittany might be related to Brett Favre. Specifically, Amara and Logan go up to the clue board and see on the clue board a cheese, a like piece of cheese, and Logan intuits that it's a cheese head for cheese heads, and then all of the things just line up in order. It's surprising to me how many people actually were able to guess that Brittany was related to Brett Favre during this episode, but like almost the whole house knew. Because not only did Logan figure it out through the clue wall and the clues that they felt during the game, but X went into the wine cellar clue room and picked out Brittany's clue and has figured out that she is related to a Green Bay Packer, and through the help of a few other people figures out that it is Brett Favre. So most people are able to figure out, because Amara isn't really quiet whenever she figures out someone's identity. She tells basically the whole house. So everyone basically knows who Brittany's related to. Meanwhile, LC has figured out an important fact about Michael. Michael's truths and some of the clues throughout the house and the game have led LC to figure out that Michael is related to Zendaya. So the ladies bring up Zendaya, and Michael, without anybody having to prompt him, says, "Oh, I think I have a little crush on Zendaya." That's weird. Considering what happens later, that's weird. But it is the guess off, and the house votes for Pepper to be the one to guess because they think that she's a weak link. They kind of want to get rid of her, but anyway. So since there are 2 people that they know the identities of, including Louise, so it's technically 3, Pepper has a choice between choosing Michael or choosing Brittany to put up as a guesser, and she's pretty confident in both of those answers.
So something I forgot to mention in regards to Michael during this episode is that he is getting on everyone's nerves. Specifically, like the core group of the house, they all kind of are rubbed the wrong way by him. They say that he's not nice to them, that he comes up and he doesn't ask them how they are. And so they're all kind of fed up with him. So that's like a contributing reason to why Pepper decides to choose Michael to guess the identity of rather than Brittany or someone else.
So Pepper calls on Michael, and Michael comes up, and shockingly, she gets it right. So Michael is related to Zendaya, and he is off of the show. And that is the end of the 2nd episode. Now, I wanted to just stop at these 2 episodes. I almost thought about going through the rest, but I kind of just want to stop at these 2 because these are the 2 that got me hooked, got me into it. And maybe I'll review the other episodes, but I want everyone else to watch it and see what their thoughts are. But now I want to turn our attention to the community around Claim to Fame. So since I've been watching this basically from the beginning, at the beginning I was trying to look on Twitter and trying to see what people thought of it and Google, and there was not that much noise around it, but every single day since, people have gotten more and more into it. There's even been a Reddit that's been created for it. There's people talking about it all on Twitter, trying to like figure out who's who, because it's kind of like fun to figure out who's linked to what celebrity. And also Kevin Jonas live tweets it at the same time, so it's like an engaging community, and it's just cute, and it's a fun little game show that you play with a bunch of people online. So the community just talks about their theories, who they like, who they dislike, you know, just a normal show. And so it's a really fun and engaging community, and one that I hope continues. I'm just hoping and praying with all the cancellations lately, I hope that this one makes it past this cancellation cycle, because I personally find it really engaging, and so do a lot of people online. But that is all I have for you today. I hope that you have a great day, and let me know in the comments if you've watched this, and if you would like to start watching it, tell me what you think. I'll see you in the next one.